Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to this Tuesday edition of the Angela Ray Show. I am your host, Angela Ray. Very excited for part two in my 5-part conversation entitled In the Kitchen. Tonight, I bring a very talented chef on as a special guest. So if you are watching this broadcast on the replay, thank you so much for checking us out, whether you're checking us out in Facebook land or over on YouTube. For my people who will be coming on to participate in the conversation while we are live, make sure that you go ahead and jump in those comments. Let me know where you are watching our show from tonight, and go ahead and share this broadcast with a friend. Don't want anyone to be left out of the fun. I'm going to give you all a moment or two to get on, and then we're going to start with our Ray of Motivation moment. All right, we are ready to get started with our Ray of Motivation moment. For tonight, I just want to ask you the question: are you looking to make an impact or an impression? Both of those words start with the letter I. Both of those words are concerned about the people whom you come in contact with, except their intentions are very different. You know, in this thing that we call life, we all have a purpose. We all have goals, and we all have a limited, finite time here on earth. Whether you are looking to grow in your business, in your personal life, or in your relationships, I challenge you as you go throughout your day tomorrow and throughout the rest of this week to ask yourself, are you looking to impress people, or are you looking to impact them? And that is your Ray of Motivation moment for this Tuesday edition of the Angela Ray Show. Well, I am very excited about my guest for tonight. She received her culinary training from Central Piedmont Community College. She is the owner of Heart and Soul Personal Chef Service, located in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. She's been featured on all of the local affiliates in Charlotte and has made a splash on the national scene on Guy's Grocery Game. So please help me welcome Chef Lisa Brooks. Hey, Chef Lisa.
Hey, Angela Ray. Thank you for having me.
You are so absolutely welcome. So, you know, it looks like the social distancing, or at least the quarantine, is coming to an end. So many states are in various phases of reopen. But what did you do during the shutdown?
So the first 4 weeks, I would say, it was, events that were scheduled were canceled. The dinner parties, the large dinner parties. Because there's two sides of my business: the dinner party business and We go into people's homes and create these magical dining experiences. So all of those were canceled or rescheduled for later in the year. So those first 4 weeks, it was like sitting around, for me, doing mostly nothing. I have another arm of my business that's the meal prep side. Now that's how the business picked up. The weekly meals delivered to people's homes picked up. So I was able to, keep my employees employed and working. And so that, kind of held us up. And then I'd say maybe a month and a half ago, we started doing dinner for twos. That was like the limit, but all the birthdays and anniversary that people needed to celebrate, we were doing those. And really just the past 2 weekends, I've done events with larger than like 10 to 12 people.
Okay. And, right now there is something very unique about your business and the team of chefs that you have on board.
Yes.
Share with us that magic that you have going on your team of chefs.
Well, it wasn't planned this way, but it just so happens that I work with a team of 5 Black female chefs. So 6 of us total. And it just turned out that way. And so, yeah, there's Black girl magic going on with Heart and Soul Personal Chef Service. So, and they play different roles. I have, junior sous chef, that's the newest member, but other sous chefs and other captains, I call them, which are people who could basically be just like me and go into people's homes and captain events and run the dinner parties. So it's pretty exciting. And, when you kind of look at us all, it's like, wow, look at what God did.
Yeah.
Right.
And look at these Black women getting along and working together.
Oh, absolutely. We are a family at Heart and Soul. We love working together. It's amazing. And clients can see that. They can see our passion, our cooking, the food, just like it brings people together around the dinner table. It brings us together in the kitchen. We're all like family. They're all like sisters to me, or maybe daughters, some of them. But yeah, we're super close. Never conflicts of any kind, really. So it's a pretty cool environment. I think it's really special what we have.
Now, I know, because I've known you for a number of years now, that you really have a passion for food. Dating back to, I've heard you share the story of not even really being old enough to reach the stove, but being 5 years old and just helping out with, I guess you were a little sous chef into baking. But how did you get your start as a professional chef?
As a professional chef. So 10 years ago, just May 22nd was our 10-year anniversary, by the way, of Her Heart and Soul. Awesome. So 10 years ago, in 2010, I walked away from corporate America, my 6-figure salary, I always say, and the comforts of health insurance and all the benefits. And I walked away from it to go to culinary school. It was just such a stressful environment. And my son was graduating high school, and I said, you know what, I'm going to live life on my own terms now. Like, he's going to college, I'm going to now do, the thing that God actually put in me to do. And so I just chased my purpose instead of, chasing money and provision. So, and that's how I found that I could find them all in both places. So I enrolled in Central Piedmont Culinary School full-time. And literally from the day I moved back to Charlotte, 2 days after I moved back, I was cooking in home for my first family. So it was meant to be. It was meant to be. And so I had my website running. I was running the business the entire time I was in culinary school. And it's only just when I graduated from school that I actually just started to expand the business beyond just what I could do with my own hands.
Okay. Now, one of your specialties is keto, as well as gluten-free cooking. How has having that niche market, how has that impacted your business?
It's a really cool thing in that we've been able to meet the need of people who are finding out that they have food intolerances and food allergies. It seems to be kind of a trend with food in general that people are developing, even in their 30s and 40s, developing food intolerances, gluten intolerances, whether it's celiac disease or just an intolerance, sensitivity to wheat, gluten, soy, dairy, corn, sugar. and you may see the advertisements for these tests that you can even, send off and get your food sensitivity test, and they send you back an assessment with the foods that your body that create inflammation within your body. And so when people are faced with this list of things that they have to cut out from their diet, and they realize that eating out is not really an option anymore, and if they weren't already cooks, they have to find another solution. And that's the pain point that we solve. We come in, we specialize in it. We give them the same good comfort food that they love and are used to, just the gluten-free version or the keto version, so they know that what they're eating is safe for their family, it's healthy for their family, and it's their best option.
Now, you were mentioning that one of the things that helped keep your business afloat during the shutdown, the first part of the shutdown, was doing personal chef, where people ordering meal prep, but then also you do dinner parties. So how do you, when we're not all sheltering at home, how do you balance all of that?
That's a great question. The way that I've been able to do that is through, and that's the way I was able to scale the business actually, is through training and trusting people. This business was my baby for sure, but if I were only able to do what I could do with my own two hands, not only would it limit my income potential, it actually limits the people who I could bring on and train, trust them, allow them to have a better income than they might have at a restaurant cooking on the line or something like that, where prep cooks start out at $8 an hour. It's really kind of ridiculous. Even like restaurant managers may make $40,000, $50,000 a year at times. So, and they work so many hours. So I can, provide a kind of a different feel and a different atmosphere, a great working atmosphere with great salaries to people who, so I get of course there's extra income in building a team of people and expanding the work that can be done, because now there's 12 hands rather than 2 that can do the same thing. So really it's just training people and trusting them. I mean, that's how we do it all, because I have a sous chef, my sous chef, my right hand, Tracy. Chef Tracy is, she completely heads up the meal prep. Like that's her line of the bit. She focuses on that. And so my favorite thing to do is the dinner parties. So we can do 3 or 4 dinner parties in one night. It's like simultaneously, because I have that many servers, that many chefs. And, also if ever somebody were sick or, there's always somebody to cover. So there's never, normally as a personal chef, it's a one-man show. So if something comes up with that one person, it could affect the client's event. That'll never be the case with Heart and Soul. We run deep. We run deep over here at Heart and Soul. So that's how we're able to do it all. And it's pretty exciting. It's like an adrenaline rush to, get so busy, and, especially in the holiday season, it's just like going. And I mean, it's a slower pace at times, but it's like picks up, and it's a pretty cool environment that we have to work in. Different people's homes every night. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
Now, do you still offer classes?
I do. Obviously, the classes are something I haven't scheduled since COVID-19. But every summer I do kids cooking classes and kid cooking camps. But people can also book private cooking classes, girls' night out. Usually it's a lot of drinking and listening to me talk about food. But sometimes they participate, like bridal showers and such. Like it'll be like me and the bride to be, cooking or something like that. Or I do, as you know, which is how we met, Angela, more of a demonstration style of teaching as well, which might be more for a team building or some type of event, or where I'm being asked to demonstrate either a product or, a piece of equipment. And I'll do those type of demonstrations as well to educate, consumers about a product. So I still do teaching and do classes. Hopefully we can get back to having those intimate, long class times in a couple of months as we move through these phases of recovery.
What's the biggest thing that you've seen someone learn, maybe that I don't know. I know that, sometimes we see these crazy things on social medias, like whether they're memes or whether they're videos, and where, people wash chicken, but that's not, you don't wash chicken, like you wash a
Right.
child or a baby. So has there been something crazy that as you've been doing a cooking lesson, it's like, oh no, that is not what I meant.
Well, that's a good one, Angela. I'm not sure about that, although I do know, yeah, there's a big debate about washing chicken and stuff. But I won't even go on either side of that right now. But I mean, there's always little things in doing. I'll answer it this way: there's always little things that I take for granted when I'm teaching a cooking class that people don't know. Like small things, like peeling a carrot, for example, like a carrot peeler. Most people will peel a carrot like this, right? Mm-hmm. But the blade on a peeler goes both ways. So if you do like this and go up and down, you peel the carrot in like 3 seconds instead of doing this. So just in a class, I'll be doing that, and they're like, "Wait, I can go both ways," or it's just like cool things like this is how you're supposed to use a tool, or and it's like, oh, I can grate garlic. It's just little things that I take for granted, and that I realize that people really don't know, and it's because of that, the little easy steps that they don't know, that cooking might seem laborious to them, or it's this job and it's it's kind of a pain. But when you learn when you kind of get involved and you learn these things in classes or whatnot, or watching TV shows, etc. Once you learn certain techniques, things become easier. Once you learn the tools, proper tools, then cooking can become a joy, right? And not be so laborious. If you're using like a terrible pan or pot, and everything sticks to it, and you have to soak it for 3 hours after you cook. Yeah, I wouldn't want to cook either, right. But having good equipment and knowing those little techniques that just save time in the kitchen, I think it makes a difference in people's level of enjoyment of the art of cooking, right?
Yeah. Well, we have a question from one of our very loyal viewers. Ooh. Mr. Edwin has a question for you.
With the onset of COVID-19, buffet style eating may be a thing of the past. What is your opinion of that subject? Edwin, that's so funny. We were just talking about that. Literally, maybe today even. We were saying, I don't know if the buffet restaurants are going to reopen. And someone said maybe in South Carolina they were. I personally, I've seen the worst of things when it comes to a buffet. And not to name it. It has nothing to do with the establishment. It has to do with the public. And even in private events and private settings, I'll do a big buffet for 100 people, and there's a huge display, and we have the tongs and the things, for them to use, and people just grab with their hands, eat, just walk down the line, grabbing, things from the table throughout the night, especially as the wine is flowing or what have you. So my opinion is buffets probably should have been a thing of the past anyway, because it's like you're trusting your health to every other individual citizen that comes into that establishment. And I think now our eyes are awakened to the true risk of that, because it's COVID-19 now, but really all the times you did catch a cold or flu or strep throat, it was probably through these same, means. And so, I'd rather not. Thank you. I'll pass.
All right. We have another question from a fellow host. Cassandra Jolliffe also has her own show as well.
Hello, Cassandra. Chef Lisa, what wisdom or advice would you give to chefs who want to launch their own restaurant and add personal chef services? Thank you for that question, Cassandra. I'm so glad you asked it, actually, because I'm launching in July a new newsletter specifically for people who want to transition, like I did, out of corporate America or their crappy job or whatever it is. They want to make a transition into doing exactly what we do, because there's so much demand and there's so few personal chefs out there. So the first piece of advice would be to follow me on Instagram at Chef Lisa Brooks, so that you can know when I launch that that newsletter. It's just going to be kind of an online thing, almost like a blog, where I'm teaching people the steps to do exactly what I did. But really, the best advice I can give you is, you don't have to have, you don't have to have a culinary education. You don't certainly have to go to the most expensive culinary schools in the country at all. if you have a good grasp on cooking, it's a passion, something that you love to do, get your safety and sanitation training, because that's just important to keep people safe. So get your Serve Safe. That's something you can do online, or take a class, like a day class, and get your certification in that, so you can learn how to keep food safe. So I think you have to do that. The actual training itself, I don't think you necessarily need classic training to do the things that we do. So if you build your online presence, build a nice, credible website, start to do events, encourage people to write reviews, and you have to offer excellent service. You have to offer excellent food, excellent service, so that people will talk about you. They will post the pictures, they will tag you, they will say how you made their wedding amazing, their anniversary amazing, their birthday amazing. And so you have to deliver that level of service and food. So that's what I would say. Build your online presence, get your food out there, throw some events, follow people like me who are already doing it. I mentor people all of the time. I've mentored chefs who've created amazing businesses, like Chef who's in your show last night. I've mentored several other chefs, and everybody who's on my team really right now have come through an internship or a mentorship. So I'm completely accessible, available. I answer questions and DMs all the time from people. So it's something that just takes a lot of focus, but in my opinion, if you've got the desire and the passion, it'd be quite easy to do with the right mentorship.
All right, Edwin has another question for you.
Ooh, Edwin, what tool or item should I add to our kitchen? I think is what tool or item? Oh my gosh, I have so many favorite tools. Okay, so I would say, can I give like a several? Okay, no, probably a garlic press is like number one, so that you can always use fresh garlic. That's the reason why you need a garlic press. It makes it easy. It gives you no excuse to not use fresh garlic. If you're using garlic out of a jar or using garlic powder, there's a place for garlic powder. Don't get me wrong. It has its place and time for use. But fresh garlic is a game changer in the kitchen. So you should absolutely have a garlic press, because if you don't have a garlic press and you got a big bulb of garlic, you're not going to use it. So get a garlic press, one that has a little cleaner on it, and just press your garlic. I had a chef, one of my mentors, tell me one time that if you can't bother to peel a clove of garlic, you shouldn't be bothered cooking.
Ooh. Wow.
I felt her on that for sure. Yeah, that's it. That's what I would say. A garlic press. I mean, I could go on, but a citrus press. So I need,
and I've seen you use one, and I've seen you talk about it. And it's funny. I've been doing more garlic, mainly as preventative measures, because garlic is an immunity booster. Yes. It's a great antiviral food. So I've been doing that with raw honey, and I hate having to peel garlic and all I gotta do is go get a garlic presser. Okay, anybody need my address? Slide in my DM. If you want to be a blessing and give me a garlic presser, I accept that. You know what I'm saying? I accept that.
I'll send you a garlic press, child. If you don't have one, as much as you like to cook, Angela, no excuses.
I just, it's just something you kind of forget. Like I said, I've seen you use it.
Yeah. Yes.
Cassandra has another question for you.
Do you have virtual cooking classes? I will, Cassandra. It's going to be part of that process I spoke about earlier. It's going to start kind of as just a newsletter with me trying to gauge interest in giving the direction like that. But I certainly plan to record videos and do classes. That way, the coronavirus has changed everything. Everything has it's forced us to do, we visit our family on Zoom now, right? And our friends on Zoom. And so it's like everything has to kind of evolve to that. So that's a great question. And I could certainly see, and I talked about during the quarantine, maybe I should go live and do, like send out a list of ingredients and say, if you want to cook along with me tonight at this, or, Wednesday night at this time, just get these ingredients and come on live and we'll cook together. And so that's certainly something that I want to do and I've been talking about. So maybe you just gave me that extra nudge to go ahead and hop on that.
Now, I don't know for certain, but something tells me this question might be someone who works with you. Like, that's just what I don't know for certain because I don't recognize the name.
Oh my
But
God.
my gut tells me this is someone who knows you personally and who works with you.
You know what? This is drama. Did you stage this, Angela?
I
This is drama.
didn't.
This
I
is
didn't.
reality TV stuff right here. That is Autumn English.
Okay, who's
And
Autumn?
her question is, who is my favorite server?
Mm-hmm.
And I will say that I have two servers that are equally my captains and I call them my A team, and they are Autumn, who asked the question, and Ronnie Morrison, who's actually been with me for 9 years. Ronnie has
Okay.
as a server. So both Ronnie and Autumn equally are my two favorite and my best lead servers. If I'm working with Ronnie and Autumn, or Lord, if I have both of them,
mm-hmm.
I don't have to worry about anything at my event. Like, I know the clients are going to be taken care of, cared for, honored, respected, just treated with royal attention while I prepare the best meal they've ever had.
Yeah, something told me. I was like,
This sounds fishy, right?
It sounds.
She's trying to start something. Now Ronnie pops in. We might have to cut the feed because Ronnie can hit below the belt. The two of them.
Funny. That is so funny. Now, have you ever thought about writing a cookbook?
Yes, I have. And I know it's got to get out of the thought stage. I know. Yes, it's going to be called Joy of the Feast. It's going to be a collection of stories and recipes that take you throughout from my, childhood and the things that made, the stories will have, the recipes will have a story behind them, because most of the things that are dear to me do have a reason why I cook it. The reason why it's special to me. A lot of it has to do with my mother, Mable, my grandmother, Mattie, and my great-grandmother, Tossie. So Mable, Mattie, and Tossie are my country cooking credentials right there. Those were my family matriarchs, and they taught me everything I knew. I've been cooking for 45 years. I know it doesn't look like I could have been doing anything for 45 years, but I've been cooking 45 years since I was 5 years old. And it's just something I thought was everybody could do. And then I didn't realize until 40 years old that it was actually a gift and a talent. And so when I'm talking to people at dinner parties and I'm sharing stories about, if I serve my fresh corn chowder and I talk about scraping, my grandma teaching me how to milk the cob, and people love those stories. They're like, oh my God, that's what made the experience. So that's what made me think, I need to incorporate, and along with just recipes and pictures, the stories behind those things. So so yes, I will be doing a cookbook. I'm actually working with my branding manager now on all of the phases of that whole process.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, do you have a story behind your homemade ice cream?
Yes, of course I do. How did you know I did homemade ice cream? Did I do it already?
I've seen you make it.
Oh, that's right.
Homemade ice cream on stage.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so yeah.
Somebody just told me there had to be a story.
I've been making homemade ice cream since I was a little girl. We all did. Okay, my family. Okay, my family. I have 6 older brothers, 6 older sisters. The baby, 7 girls, and then my mom, I think, had 5 siblings. Each of them had like 5 siblings. So on Sunday dinner at my grandma's house, literally there'd be 60 people. It's just first cousins, just my aunts and uncles and first cousins. It would be like 60 people. My grandmama got on 4 burners in an oven, and cooked for all these people. So it's like a big catering event every Sunday. But homemade ice cream is something back in the day, the big wooden oaken bucket, and you put the ice in there and the rock salt. Come on, Angela, where you from, girl?
I'm from the country, but let me tell you, my grandmother, in addition to having a regular stove, she still kept her wood stove that she would use in the wintertime. So I'm from the country, but I haven't.
They didn't churn ice cream. You had to churn it manually. They didn't have these little plug-in electric things we can use now. It's like you put your mixture in there in the little tin part, and then you put the ice and the salt around it. And then the kids, us, we had to sit there and crank it by hand and take turns. And until you couldn't get it to move anymore. That's when the ice cream was frozen.
Wow.
I thought everybody had experiences like that. I realized in telling these stories that no, they're special. And I love those memories. Those memories they just give me joy inside thinking about that stuff. So when I plug up my little electric ice cream maker now, and it's going, and it still tastes the same and stuff. But I always think about that big oaken bucket and churning it. I mean, those are just like the good things. But memories are often, look, where is it? I'm reverse. The best memories are made around the table. So
they are. They absolutely are.
Yeah.
Okay, Edwin has a great question for you.
Lord have mercy. Why you put me on the spot, Edwin, with the y'all ganging up on me. That is a great question. But I'll tell you this. Okay, I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna tell you the menu. Okay. My most popular and the things that people love the most is probably what I would do. Obviously, I'd want to find out what their favorites are, and I could cook those because I can probably do anything that they said. But I have some specialties. My low country shrimp and grits is a specialty that I do. My sweet potato biscuits with that. And my crab cakes, best crab cakes, I feel like, in the world. Yes, I said it. It's Baltimore style crab cakes, like very, very little, minimal breading, with a Texas Pete beurre blanc sauce.
Okay.
And that's super popular. And my chocolate souffles, my chocolate pot de creme desserts, both equally. When you read reviews, people talk about the souffle constantly. So, making them that. Certainly I have to give them some homemade ice cream. That's something they probably hadn't had in a long time. So I do that. But I will say, just because it's the Obamas, they wouldn't get treated differently than any other client I have, because every client that we cook for, we treat as if they are royalty.
Awesome. So what's the craziest thing that you've seen in the kitchen? Maybe not necessarily someone on your staff, maybe you were doing a live event. I don't know. But what's the craziest thing you've seen?
Well, I had an event, and it was actually at a celebrity's house. Okay. And it's like a professional athlete's house, and a very well-known, retired at this point, person, but we were doing a very nice dinner, a very elegant dinner, and a neighbor came over, knocked on the door. I mean, clearly there were cars there. They knew somebody had to have a party or dinner party, something. But a neighbor came over and knocked on the door and like had their kid there on the step, was like, "Did you say something to my kid yesterday?" And they got like seriously like into like a straight like beef like right there in the middle of the dinner party. It was kind of crazy. I only know that because I was in the kitchen, but one of my number one servers, I won't mention which one, was like peering around the corner getting all the like seeing what was going on and like telling me what was happening out front. But yeah, so I mean, that's kind of a crazy thing. But there's crazy situations all the time, and it usually is with like the athletes. I cooked for a very well-known Panther at one point, and he had the tiniest little, we had to cook for 16 people, and he had the tiniest, his kitchen was not bigger than my desk right here. It was like, we had 4 or 5 people, like 4 servers, or 3 servers and 2 chefs. And the kitchen was literally, we could not get around each other in the kitchen. And it was like, what? How does he live? Like, there's things that are surprising like that. But yeah, so we have stories.
Stories for days.
We have stories. Like. Yeah. But the name shall remain anonymous.
Absolutely. You got to go back and collect those additional checks in the future.
Hello. Exactly.
So as we get ready to wrap up, any final thoughts on catering and on cooking during the pandemic? Because tonight I thought about you because my neighbor brought over some fresh basil. I couldn't remember what I was looking at it like. She has everything. She brought over thyme, basil, mint, rosemary. But I kept looking at the basil and I couldn't figure out what it was, and I didn't want to ask because I was like, I should know what this is. And it took me a while to figure out, this is basil. And so I remember I cooked some type of pasta dish. I posted on Facebook, and you was like, why is there a bushel of basil on this plate? You don't need that much.
You thought you was doing it though.
I did. That's what's funny. I did. I thought
you thought you was doing something.
I did. But any final thoughts as we, because during this time, I know I've been trying new things. I'm excited because I'm perfecting my banana bread from scratch. So, and I don't bake. Like, I don't bake.
I think
Like, I
everybody's been
have
baking.
one
I think
thing.
everybody's been doing sourdough during the pandemic because like it was a thing. It was trending actually.
Oh, that's one I haven't
Everybody
tried.
somehow was getting sourdough starter, but not me
Oh.
because I don't bake. Like no.
No, for real, I don't bake. It was just, these bananas are
Yeah.
overripe. What can I do with them? I'll make a banana bread.
Yeah.
I've never made banana bread. Let's just make it do what
Yeah.
it do. So I'm been excited
It's
about
really
it.
cool that people were able to kind of find those things during this pandemic has had obviously some curses, but it has had some blessings too.
Yeah.
And the fact that, for example, my son was home. He's an airline worker. He's a flight attendant, and he's been home from New York. He's been home 3.5 months, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a long time. I would never get to spend this much time with my adult son. So that's positive. So there's been some positive things, and I think people spending more time at home with their family, parents having to actually homeschool their kids so they can appreciate teachers more. I just think we're going to come out of this a lot more gratitude and yeah, I've had people that called and said, okay, like it's been 4 weeks and like my kids actually want to eat every single day. Like, what can you help me? Like I just fed them and they want to eat again. Like, it's like, well, they have to eat like 3 times a day. And, and they're like, okay, I can't do this anymore. Like here, like, please feed my family. So it's been amazing that, that it's again been a kind of a blessing in disguise that we've been able to be, kind of provide a service during this time that people really desperately needed with no options other than, contactless care, like delivery.
Right.
So, and we know what kind of foods you can get through delivery. You can't eat like that every day, like at all.
Mm-mm.
So yeah, I mean, it's just a blessing that I already had that in place and was able to, take on the capacity, the increased capacity with the families that needed help during that time. But yeah, I think, thank you, Joanna. She says, this show has made me want to cook something now. Yes, do it. Every time I see a clean kitchen, I just want to cook. I'm like,
that's funny.
Clean kitchen, what can I do in here? Woo! Let's go. Stir up some groceries, girl. Go do it.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what's going to be next. I just right before the broadcast, literally, I threw some kebabs on the grill, just some zucchini, squash, onion, and little cherry tomatoes. Just rotated it, tossed it in avocado oil with Italian seasonings and garlic powder. But I'm like,
garlic powder.
I feel like,
see,
yeah. Now, but I did that because I wouldn't. I feel like garlic powder on a grill would have burned. That's why I was like, I don't know about real garlic. Yeah.
No, you're right. You're fine. I'm joking with you. She says, what's your specialty in Caribbean food? Red stew chicken. Never heard of it? That's because I'm the only place you can get it. And it's the most phenomenal thing you'll ever put in your mouth. Red stew chicken. You've heard of brown stew chicken? I make a red stew chicken. It's actually a Trini dish. It's a Trini dish that I learned from a friend of mine when I was, I think, maybe in my 20s or so. A friend of mine's grandmother from Trinidad was visiting her. And she made this chicken. I don't know what she called it. But I was like, yeah, this is amazing. And I mean, her grandmother taught me how to make it. And so it's this red stew chicken. It's my son's favorite dish. It's like so many people from Chapel Hill, Durham, all my college friends, all those people, they know. Everybody knows red stew chicken come out. It's like it's a celebration because you'll never get it anywhere else. Serve it with a little bit of carnival cabbage, I call it. And some plantain. What?
Oh, now Lisa, how long have I known you? And I have never had that. Like,
I know.
Ever?
Well, you know what? I'm gonna tell you something. This is a little bit of a secret, but my son's 28, and he's single. He's got a good credit score. Anyway,
I love it.
Full-time job benefit, savings account. Anyway, but my son is I share all these recipes, when I was writing recipes for Food Lion and, doing little things, I share all the time. I just share my recipes, not proprietary about anything at all. And my son basically forbid me to share the red stew chicken recipe. And so I've just kind of honored that. He's like, that's the one thing. He's like, really, like, you should keep that one. Like, keep that as your special thing. Because there's just nowhere you can really get it. So, so sorry, but I've actually tried to teach people how to make it, like friends, you know, and they like mess it up. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I tried to give it to them, you know, so, but it's the best. Oh, yeah. I mean, to me, it's just knocks brown stew chicken out the park, but I mean, whatever, they're all good, but it's like the flavor's amazing. Like, it's slow stewed, and it's like got a the caramelization. This is a hint. The caramelization that takes place in the pan before you even put the chicken in and marinate the chickens in create the red color. It's not anything. It's not tomatoes that create the red color. It's actually the caramelization of the ingredients in the pan that create a red color, and that's what's called red stew chicken. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Carlin. She said, I guess that's no recipe then.
I guess you're just going to have
maybe
to.
One of them my second or third cook, but maybe I slide it in there. Maybe.
Now, I know at one time I'd spoken to you, and you were talking about possibly starting some pop-up dinners, you know, creating pop-ups around the country. What are you thinking about doing that after the pandemic?
Yeah, that's so crazy you said that. You know, I started doing them locally. I don't know if you know that or not.
I did.
That was the vision, was to travel around the country and do pop-up dinners wherever I had followers. So obviously the first step is to build up the followers online, which I'm turning 50. I wasn't the best at social media, but starting to get there. And so, but what I've done is I've done them locally. I've done 3 or 4 here in Charlotte in the last year, and 1 or 2 in Raleigh, in the Raleigh-Durham area, and 1 in Atlanta. So I think, you know, as I find little niches where I have like a group of followers, or like right now I'm considering Chicago because I have a few clients in Chicago that are natives to Charlotte that use me when they travel here, but they live in Chicago. So I'm like, hey, you know, if we can get some stuff popping off in Chicago. So that's just it's kind of in a long-term. So it's a long-term vision. I want to get this information out that can help people start a business like I have. That's my first priority right now, because we need more personal chefs in the industry. And so I've done it successfully, and I want to teach other people exactly like how to do it. So, because there's so much demand out here, and there's really just not enough people to go around, to be honest. So that's my first priority. Then the cookbook, then the global tour. I don't know what am I going to do. Pop up.
Toronto, San Francisco.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I've been to events of chefs that do those pop-ups. That's a cool idea, and that's what inspired me to do it. But if I'm being honest, I mean, I just feel like I just know that, you know, just like my personality, the food, my servers, the professionalism of everything. I mean, I just feel like, you know, when we get it logistically situated, because I have to have my team with me, you know, to give them the heart and soul experience. Then I think it's going to be like a huge thing. And Cassandra says, and then the show.
She's speaking into your life. She's speaking into your life.
I receive all of that. I receive all of it. There's no dream too big. There's no idea too big. God's already shown me that in the first place, when he took me out of a 6-figure salary, you know, and told me to just trust him. And then immediately, I mean, I make way more than I made in corporate America. You know what I mean? Like, and like can sleep at night and have no stress. And so I'm able to like really employ and hire other people. That you have no idea how that makes me feel. And to know that I go into this, what I said in the article that was published last week in the Business Journal, Charlotte Business Journal, you know, I talked about how my grandmother was a maid, and she went into these homes and she cooked for them, and she cleaned their houses, and she cared for and raised their children, you know, and she rode the bus there. You know, later on she drove a car, but she rode the bus there and, you know, worked for these other families all day, you know, and now I go into those same neighborhoods, or, you know, those same houses, figuratively speaking. I go into those same neighborhoods, and I make thousands of dollars for what I do. Like, the full circle nature of that is not lost on me at all. It's a blessing. And my grandmother, if she was alive, Lord, I know she would be in disbelief, you know, you know, from what she basically taught me, she taught me this, she put this passion in me, because at our Sunday dinners, it was a place of love and acceptance, laughter, just playing, good food. The uncles might be out front, lying to each other and, sneaking and drinking something out in the trunk of the car because my grandma wasn't allowed in the house. But, my cousins playing and running, wild, and ice cream being churned and just the stoves on. And then we come together and eat. It's just every Sunday. That was every Sunday. It was like a family reunion, like every Sunday. And so that joy of the feast, that joy of feasting together, that feeling of abundance and feeling of blessing and feeling of love and acceptance and just having a place you belong and feeling cared for, that's the spirit of hospitality that was in my DNA from my matriarchs in my family. That's what I got from that. And that's what I try to deliver every single experience that we provide at Heart and Soul. So that's why everybody in my team has to have that same spirit of hospitality. They it's like I give them part of my DNA, and they combine it with their own passion and skills, and and we just strive to like provide that mission, that rediscovering of the joy of just breaking bread together. People have had, at my pop-up dinners, people have had some difficult conversations about very hot political issues with very opposing views. But around my table and the atmosphere that I created, that spirit of hospitality, when they broke bread together, they were actually able to broach these very polarizing subjects. It kind of shocked me at first, like, oh my God, are they really talking about abortion? Are they really talking about, this at the dinner table? But they were listening to each other. It's like, wow, once you break bread with someone, you humanize them and you see their heart, and you can't unsee it once you see it. So that's very difficult to then just dismiss their opinion or just dismiss their point of view, because you've connected with them now. So that's what the power of food can do. And, I know I can preach, but I don't know. I'm not going to.
I was about to be like, will there be one? Will there be one?
Turn to your neighbor, honey. Turn to your neighbor.
I mean, sound like we need you in Washington, go and cook something for the peoples and let them have a come to meal.
What I'm saying? Yeah. Over some shrimp and grits and sweet potato biscuits, honey, we could solve all the problems.
Well, the Golden Girls, they solved all their problems over cheesecake at the table. So, hey, Hey. All right, so we got one more question, and this one is hilarious to me. Here we go. It's Edwin.
How long did it take for you to trust your gifts? Why is that funny, Angela? That's a cool question.
No, you know what? I misread it. I thought it said grits. Because that's why. Because, everybody can't make grits. You know that. So that's what I thought it said. I misread it.
That would have been a good question.
That's what I thought it was. That would have been a good question. So my bad. But, I'm glad you read it and I didn't.
So Edwin clearly wants me to continue preaching, because that's where this has to go. It has to go there. I started trusting in my gifts when God told me to. When He said, "This is what you got to do." He left me no option. We always have an option. I could have believed Him or not. I chose to believe Him when He said, go and do this. Turn away from the security that you think is yours. You think this corporation has been your provider all these years, 16 years. They've never been your provider. I've always been your provider. You're not supposed to be worried about provision. You're supposed to be worried about your purpose. And this is the gift I put in you. It's the gift the universe needs out of you. Go and do this. So that's the moment when I trusted my gifts. As simple as that. He asked me a question, and that's the honest answer. So I had to preach. That's what it is. He said do it, and so I did it. And how did He say it? Was it a voice from the ceiling? No, it wasn't. It was the doors opening up. It was me hearing the same thing repeated, the same thing I would hear when I was praying. My, Asian American therapist would be telling me the same thing in therapy, like, you should just walk in that direction. It's like literally the same words I heard this lady saying it, who, is a scientist basically. And then people who don't know me are like, oh, you should cook for a living. And so it's like, wow, okay, the universe, aka God, the Holy Spirit, is telling me to do this. So I just trusted immediately, Edwin, because what's your option? Faith and fear require the same thing. They require you to believe in something. You either believe it's going to happen or it's not going to happen. So you might as well believe it's going to happen. And when you do that, there's power in that. There's power in just walking in the direction of your dream, your purpose. And God knows if God put a gift there telling you, that means the world needs it out of you. Whatever it is. You want to makeup artist, you want to be an architect, you want to be an interior designer, whatever it is. People chase money and jobs and stability, 9 to 5. That whole life is, I mean, it's good. I don't knock it, but it can just kind of be a lie. So, you know, look at your kids and look at the gifts that they have. See what their propensities are. You know, what subjects that, you know, maybe they should go into culinary arts. Maybe they should go into interior design or, you know, home design and remodels or something. Maybe that's where their passion lies. And maybe they should be go to that type of school instead of, you know, go to this school because your grandfather and we went to this school and we're alma maters and, you know, I'm a dentist. She's a dentist. You got to be a dentist. I mean, we got to stop that. And we got to let the gift come out and let the fruit, you know, let the fruit, I love it. Please follow me because you are hilarious, Edwin. Please follow me on Instagram. I will follow you back, honey. He said he gonna cash out me his tithes and offers. While you playing,
oh
give you my cash tag. Oh Lord. This has been so much fun.
It has been, and it's been a while since you and I have even seen each other.
I know. I miss you. I miss your voice.
I miss you too. I miss you fixing food for me to take back to my hotel room too.
Stash the food, been sitting there 4 hours. You take it back to the hotel. I don't know how you come down with all kind of taking that food back to your room 4 hours later, eating it. But yeah,
it was, I was always
those were the days. I'm so glad I met so many great people who I love. They're dear to me right now from that time we were working together.
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Chef Lisa Brooks, the owner of Heart and Soul Personal Chef Services in the Charlotte area. She did mention after, you know, it is safe to move about the cabin. She will be possibly doing some pop-up dinners after she educates people on how to get their businesses up and running. So please make sure that you follow her. Her Instagram and her website are down at the bottom of the screen right now. I think that some people have already gone, like during the broadcast, based on some of the questions that I was hearing, have already checked you out online because of how in-depth those questions were.
Yeah.
So thanks for taking the time to talk with us tonight and educate us. And I got to figure out when I'm gonna get this red stew chicken. That's all I know. That's all.
You can come put your feet under my table and get it now. You can get the red stew chicken. You can't get the recipe.
Oh, no.
You can come put your feet under the table. If you put your feet under my table, you can get all of it. You know what I mean? So
I respect the sacred recipes. I mean, we have a couple in my family that it's just, you know, I don't care where I go, how much soul food they cook. No one quite does it like we do in my family. So I respect the sacredness of those recipes. You know, if it's something basic, oh yeah, I'll show you how to make a biscuit. But you know, this is what we do in our family. So yeah, definitely respect that. Well, again, thanks for taking the time to speak with us, Lisa, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
What a great idea. Thank you, Angela. Great show. This is a great show. Thank you for doing it.
Oh, you're welcome. This has been fun. Definitely been fun. Have a good night.
You too, dear.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
All right, that is it for our Tuesday edition of the Angela Ray Show. As always, I just like to remind you of Ray of Motivation number 54. Cleaning a mirror does not change the person who is reflected in it. Until next time, I encourage you all to go out and be the change. Have a great evening.